Welcome! Welcome to Bluebonnet Crafters. My name is Gabi, and in this video I would like to show you how to finish your hexagons that you have woven on the turtle loom. This one will be part one of several that show you how to finish and join your hexagons. Let's begin simple. Assume you want to make just coasters. Here are 3 examples, and I will show you in detail what we did here to finish them. But first I want to start with the hexagon as it comes off the loom. Can we please zoom in at this point? Thank you. Here is a hexagon fresh off the loom. The yarn is Cascade 220, which is a very fun yarn to work with. And you see here is the tail that I started with. Here is the tail, that's the end, and looks a little bit crooked. I would like to show you first what I do to my hexagons when they just come off the loom, because the weaving is still a little bit uneven. Be brave. Take opposite corners and tug. Move around, take opposite corners and tug. Opposite corners and tug. Some corners will tug more, some less. Now take opposite sides and wiggle. Turn it, next sides and wiggle. Next sides and wiggle. Now if you look, let's put the hexagon back into its position. Now if you look at it, it looks more even. Sometimes you have to put it a little bit back into hexagon shape, but at that point it's all wiggled and straight and ready to go. Let's start very simple. You have 2 ends and you just want to make coasters. The simplest way is if you take the beginning and weave it back and the end and weave it back to the opposites. You can weave a whole line through, or you can just weave to about half. This will be perfectly fine. Depending on the yarn that you have, it will hold it in place just fine. And you can even do this while it's still on the loom, which is very convenient. Here's an example, and we probably have to zoom in a little bit more. Can we please zoom in? In this example, one more. Okay. In this example, I have woven in the ends all the way through. And if you look closely, you can still see it, but it's very, very hard to see. I know this is a dark fabric, but even in a light fabric, you will barely see it. That's method number 1. That's probably the easiest, and you can still do it while you're on the loom. If you're familiar with the Weave-Its or the Zoom looms, this is one method to finish it. The next method is to take your hexagon, back to our hexagon, here's the starting thread, and you can just weave it through the loops here on the side. And if you do this all the way around, you will actually have a little bit thicker border, which looks nice for a coaster. So if you go with your thread clockwise, with your beginning thread clockwise, you will have just enough to get around here, and then you take the end and weave it back to the top. Here's an example of what it looks like. Again, this is a little bit darker example, but you can probably see, number one, you barely see anything, but you can see that the border is a little bit thicker than was just the regular hexagon. which for coasters is perfectly fine, and you have a very simple and straightforward way to finish. The last example that I want to show you is the fun stuff, where you can crochet as your heart desires, uh, just any type of border around it. What I've done here is just simple single crochets. In the corners I use 2 single crochets to get around the curve, and on some sides, or on the sides, I usually have, well, let me see, it's about 7 or 8 stitches. You just do it as it will fit. You could also do shell stitch, or anything that your heart desires, um, to finish your coaster that way. This concludes part 1 of how to finish hexagons. If you would like to hear more about how to join them, please stay tuned for part 2. Thank you very much for watching.